Hi everybody, Michael Britt here, and this is episode 68 of the Psych Files, in which we are going to, once and for all, memorize Erikson's 8 stages of psychosocial development using ordinary household objects. Objects like this bun here, these sticks, this is a toy plane, and of course a shoe, and what's in this pot? I'll tell you in just a second, and how we're going to use it to memorize Erikson's 8 stages. Okay, let's start. First off, we're going to use the peg word system. Now, you have hopefully heard about this before in previous podcasts. You probably know the simplest peg word system, which is 1 is a bun, 2 is a shoe, 3 is a tree, 4 is usually a door, but in our case, it's going to be a dinosaur. Still rhymes. I'll show you why in a minute. 6 is sticks, 7 is heaven, and 8 is a plate. All right, so let's start. Now, Erikson's first stage. What we're going to do is we're going to associate each of the words in these stages with each of those peg words. And in that way, at a future time, you'll be able to bring back all of these stages using your mnemonic device. Okay, 1 is a bun. Now, I went out and got this. I actually couldn't find a bun. This is a muffin, but we'll pretend it's a bun. Okay, so now you have to associate bun, something very concrete, with the first stage in Erikson's model, which would be trust versus mistrust. Now, when I look at the word trust, I'm looking for something inside of it, something that it seems to be a little bit more concrete, because trust is pretty abstract. Now, inside trust is the word us, which is still too abstract. I like the word rust, right? So trust, rust. Okay, so now what I got to do is take the idea of a bun and match it up with rust. So in order for mnemonics to work, you have to use some kind of imagery that is unusual, although the more bizarre, the better, right? You want to use associations that are as strange and outlandish as you can. Although I'm going to use household objects and it'll still work. So now what I'm going to do then, to memorize the first stage in Erikson's model, is to imagine, and this is sort of a rust-colored, imagine this is a bun. This is a kind of a rust-colored bun here, right? So when I go, when I'm asked, if I'm asked on a test, or if I just want to bring these things up, what is the first of Erikson's stages? I'll think, well, 1's a bun, and I'll think of a rust-colored bun. Okay? 1's a bun, rust, and that hopefully will bring back trust. And so I think the first stage of Erikson's model, not the hardest, trust versus mistrust. All right? So that's stage 1. Stage 2. 2 is a shoe. All right? So that's a pretty easy rhyme. Now, what am I going to do with a shoe? Now, I have to match shoe with the second of Erikson's stages, which is autonomy versus shame. Now, how do I associate a shoe with autonomy? Well, you look in the word autonomy, and you see, or I saw, the word auto. So, using the idea of household objects, I went downstairs, and this is my daughter's car. It's kind of a car, right? It's an automobile, you see. Okay, now I got to get the auto to associate with the shoe here. What people usually do with this one is to try to stick an automobile into a shoe, which I'm going to try and do here. Here we go. Something a little bit bizarre to see an auto inside of a shoe, but that just about does it there. Stick it right in. There we go. Oh, oops. Well, I may have to hold this. I'm going to get a bigger shoe. Okay, there we go. There is an auto inside of a shoe. So I'm going to go 2's a shoe, and I'm going to imagine the autonomy, the auto in the shoe. Now, what is the other side of autonomy? Well, that's shame. Now, what do you do with the word shame? There's actually a couple of words in there. There's aim. But I saw something similar, which is Shane, which is a name for a guy. So I just happen to have a guy, a doll, this guy, if you see him there, he looks like somebody who would be called Shane. So I'm just going to put Shane right here driving the auto. See if he sits there in the front seat. Oh, there we go. And I still got to stick this car and make it stay in here. Well, now Shane's falling out. Stay in there, Shane. Hang on there. Put your seat belt on. This actually has a seat belt. There we go. All right, so that's the second stage in Erikson's model. 2 is a shoe. Shoe is autonomy versus shame. Okay, it works. Believe me. Hang in there. Okay, I'll put this away. 3. 3 is what? A tree. 3 is a tree. All right. Now, I got to associate a tree with initiative versus guilt. All right, now how am I going to do that? Well, I'll look at the word initiative. What do I see in there? There's a couple of things I see in there. Well, it starts off with the word in. Okay. It also has, if you go a little bit further into the word, Shia, which didn't sound like anything at first until I thought of Shia LaBeouf. Now, maybe you've seen this actor. There's a picture in there, Shia LaBeouf. I thought it was Shia, but it's Shia. So either way, he was in Transformers, and he was in the Indiana Jones movie. Okay, so what are you going to do? You got to associate Shia or in, and by the way, I do have somewhere here. Oh yeah, if you want to go with in, maybe you don't know Shia LaBeouf, or maybe you want to use these together. This is a picture of one of the oldest inns, I-N-N, in America. That's the Beekman Arms. So, in order to make this all work, I'm gonna put Shia LaBeouf into a tree here. See if I can make Shia stay in the tree. And and if Shia doesn't work for you, then there he is. See, up on the tree there. It's hard to make him stay. There he goes. Then go with the inn, and it's sort of like an inn house. Right? Instead of a tree house, you're imagining an inn. Okay, so let's get back to where we are. We're at stage 3. 3 is a tree. Initiative. I'm telling you, it works, believe me. Versus what? Versus guilt. All right, how do I get guilt into this crazy picture? Well, guilt looks like quilt. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this quilt, which you found upstairs there, and I'm going to wrap it around the tree, because near the tree, particularly this tree, this is a sad-looking tree. Oops, Shia fell out of the tree. I'm going to take him out for just a second. It's a pretty cold-looking tree, particularly in the wintertime. You can see there's no leaves down here. So I'm going to put a quilt around the tree. All right? So here's my imagery. If I'm asked, or I got a multiple choice, and you see a question like, what's the opposite of initiative? Or you need to memorize which one this is. 3 is a tree, and in the tree is an in the tree. Initiative versus guilt.